Hello everyone, welcome back to more AEW on TEW 2020. We are here in the third week of February, almost on our way to Revolution, the main pay-per-view of the year. But we start off with AEW Dark. Bandito defeats Hideki Okatani, and afterwards Miranda Pesqua's music hits and she makes her way to the stage. She says, "I guess you're having fun there, Bandito? Just being another body for the LWO to tread water with? Well, it's not really my issue anymore, I suppose. I already have some amazing clients to prepare, but I don't want to just rely on them, on the men. See, unlike Shaul Guerrero, I am willing to get physical. While AEW doesn't allow intergender wrestling, you have Thunder Rosa in the LWO, don't you? Next week, I want to face Rosa, take it up with Vicky or whoever. I'm going to show you that you are all missing out on one of the biggest upcoming stars in pro wrestling." I felt exhausted booking this Dark, so I apologize if all of my one promo is really bad. I was out of it on this Dark. Lupa gets her in-ring debut, defeating Cynthia Regal. Ricochet defeats Takahashi. Nightmare Family is all seen backstage, just putting over their characters. This is going to be a really short Dark, because again, I was exhausted writing this. Sheeta defeats Jay. Best Friends defeat Von Erichs. The Future are about to make their way to the ring when they're stopped by Frederick Hurst, and Hurst begs for them to let him come to ringside with them, and then eventually just are like, "Oh, fine. Sure, whatever." Hurst joins them, and they do get a surprise win over Bad Influence, and Donnie and Frederick are a good pairing. Devitt defeats El Phantasmo. Yuka Sakazaki joins the Troop D Elite. And Rey Mysterio defeats Willie Mack. Again, very quick Dark. Was not feeling it. Our show of Dynamite begins with Dustin Rhodes taking on QT Marshall and winning, because QT Marshall is awful. I hate QT Marshall. After the match, Cody's music begins to play, and Dustin's little brother comes out to the ring, a mic in hand. Says, "Dustin, we've had some great memories in the past, haven't we? Getting to be on national TV with Dad, getting to fight you on pay-per-view for a match of the year. Well, I want to experience that one more time. I don't know if I'll beat you. I don't know if we can get to the standards that we did 3 years ago. Part of me hopes that I don't win. But at Revolution, Dustin, I'll take you on." Cody offers a handshake in order to confirm that, but Dustin hugs him instead. After this, we see Garza wearing a partially unbuttoned tuxedo, trying to look all sexy for the cameras. This is truly a touching display of sibling camaraderie. Brings a tear to your eye. But it's not good enough for the Month of the Rose. No. The Month of the Rose is all about me, Garza Jr. And finally, I'm main eventing in my own month. Took long enough. Now, as your special early treat of the day from me, I have a lovely guest, Trish Stratus. In her era of pro wrestling, she was a heartthrob, much like I am in this era. And he just conducts an interview with Trish Stratus about the troubles of being hot. And Trish is like, okay, sure. My initial plan was I was going to just speed through all of February in one recording session. After writing the promos for this episode, no. So, little look under the hood, you can see that I'm not recording on the same day. Well, I'm recording the same day as Dark, but Brody Lee and Lance Archer actually draw with Lesnar and Jungle Boy. After the match, the legal men, Lance and Brock, continue to brawl. And Jungle Boy, not really wanting to get involved, it's not really his match, hops down from the apron and begins to head backstage when Brody Lee, still trying to get some heat, rushes after him. Jungle Boy barely manages to avoid him until Luchasaurus takes down Brody, with him immediately being followed by Matt Sydal attacking. Sydal is then taken down by takes down Jungle Boy until Mary Dobson makes her return after a year on maternity leave, beats down Sydal, helps up Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. Paul Heyman announces that the 3v3 will be taking place at Revolution, no time limit. Setting up another match. This is going to be a really bad episode in terms of You too. Okay, that's our best segment. MJF is seen at the Men's Sports Arena in New Jersey, where CM Punk won his ROH title, or the first one. I don't know if he won it the second time. He said, "This is where CM Punk went from a nobody to a somebody. 900 fans in attendance as he threatened to leave the company that he called home to go to brighter pastures. You know where I became somebody? In Baltimore, Maryland, in front of 8,000 people. You were selling out bingo halls, sure. I have been selling out arenas. You've been the master of the rec center. I have been the guy leading a company to become the best one in all of pro wrestling, all on my back, and not on the back, not of the hard work of some invisible man." I did this the John Cena hand thing because I don't know why. It's referring to John Cena. "In just a week and a half, we're gonna be in front of thousands once again. I became the greatest wrestler in the world a year ago that day, and now I'll prove that I am still the greatest, that I can still slay a god once more. But of course, we still need to sign on the dotted line, don't we? A big match with a legend like yourself can't just have an off-screen signing, can it? So wear your best suit next week, Phil. The cameras want to get a good pic." MJF still being a smarmy asshole, and also just explaining away that, like, a lot of times the contract signings happen backstage or off-screen or whatever. We're having a contract signing next week. Jericho defeats Zack Sabre Jr. Terrible match. Sammy gets on the mic afterwards and says, "What else does Jericho need to prove, Kurt? He's beaten all your top boys, he's even beaten Zack twice. I don't know what more he could want, but I suppose there's something that we could do. See, we still have some dominance to prove, so how about next week we pin all 4 of your guys? 8-man tag team elimination match, Inner Circle against Team Angle." Good way to fill in for the opening match, as opposed to the Dustin Rhodes Open Challenge. After this, we see Ham's Katana very distraught over the loss of Goku, trying backstage looking desperately for her pet pig. Kana soon approaches, Goku in hand, and this enrages Hams, who rushes out, tries to fight Kana to get Goku back, and Kana's like, "What the hell are you doing?" Before Kana can even explain, Hams has already come to her... I tried to snap her, I can't snap. Has already come to her conclusion. She challenges Kana to a fight at Revolution, storms out, gets to Heyman's office, makes it official, and Morgan's like, "Oh, sure, whatever." And Kana, no idea what the hell is going on. Hams and Morgan are a bunch of weirdos, but mainly Hams is a weirdo. Oh, that's a shame. Britt Baker defeats Maki. And then Mayu comes to the ring afterwards, wearing casual clothes and the women's belt. She steps up to Britt, offers a handshake. Britt takes the handshake. Mayu gives a respectful bow and leaves, silent but ready to take on her opponent for the pay-per-view. After this, we see Hangman alone at a bar for the camera. Save for the camera. It says, "The world never stops moving, does it? November 2020, full year. I got betrayed by my best friend. He told me I was holding him back. For all that time, I tried to bring him back. I tried to prove myself, because you never know when you need a friend. But now, he's gone. I don't know who, but someone took him. I don't think you did it, Doc. No, I think you would have let everyone know if it was you. I fought for my friend for the past year and a half. And now what do I fight for? Winning that championship won't make me any friends. Hell, it might only make me enemies. But there's one thing that I am certain of. Getting that title off of you is for the best. You've broken people, you've injured them, you've gotten rid of them. You have derived the fans... What's the word? I'm trying to make up something. You have deprived, that's the word, deprived the fans of what they're looking for. And now, it's time that it comes into the hands of someone who cares for it, for someone who cares about what it means to be a pro wrestler, someone who cares about the sanctity of pro wrestling. He then gets up and leaves, leaving his glass of whiskey behind. The promos were up and down today. I like this one. But the rest of my booking was pretty bad in terms of making sense. Orange Cassidy defeats Jonathan Gresham. And after the match, Banks gets on the mic. Basically, he says that just the TLDR of this one, Orange Cassidy versus Garza will main event the pay-per-view. Not main event the pay-per-view, duh. That'll be Hangman versus Pac. It'll be on the pay-per-view. Then we just go over a preview of the match. What do we have confirmed so far? So, we have Pac versus Hangman. We have Mayu versus Britt Baker. We have Proud and Powerful versus the Briscoes. We have Garza versus Orange Cassidy. Those are all of your title matches. Well, and also Jeff Cobb versus Will Ospreay. That's also a title match. We then have Adam Cole versus Jeff Hardy in a match at the Hardy compound. We have Kota Ibushi and the Young Bucks against AJ Styles and the Good Brothers. We then have Kana versus Katana, presumably. CM Punk versus MJF. Dustin Rhodes versus Cody Rhodes. And then Brock Lesnar and the Jurassic Express versus Lance Archer, Brody Lee, and Matt Sydal. And then Garza wins. 77. It's a good rating, but I'm not proud of this show, just in terms of how my writing for it was. For the most part, I'm not too upset with what I did. It's just how I did it. I'm just tired, so I wanted to get stuff for season 2 set up pretty, in one day, or not in one day, today, at the day that I'm recording this, but I'll save it for tomorrow or whenever. We'll find out. But that will end our show of Dynamite. Not penultimate, the pre-penultimate show, Season 1.